Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So this is kind of the other promise video that I did. So this one is still going to be mostly kind of an audio one, although I will have something on the screen for you. Basically, it's an image of what looks like a roadmap, and I mentioned it. Oh, and I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the train. The OGs know. So there you go, hashtag train. But I wanted to talk about the idea of a roadmap as far as collecting is concerned. I kind of made reference to it in the last episode, so here's another episode shortly on the heels of the other one. And the example that I have for you is something that you might see more of inside of a tech or corporate environment. A product roadmap. So this is not exactly, obviously, this is not apples to apples what I'm really talking about, but you can see they've got this sections for web team, mobile team, marketing team, and then you've got all these different things that are happening. Basically, these activities, and then you're seeing them in a certain sequence that lead you down the path, so you can see what the next several months or the next several years entail. Basically, one thing happens, and one thing you can notice there as far as the roadmap, because the reason I'm using this analogy, and I'll explain more about it here in a second, how it even applies to collecting at all, is that you can have situations where multiple things are happening at the same time that touch on different areas, and you can have things happening simultaneously. You can have one thing that ends and then another thing begins, and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of a combination of that. And when I'm referring to a roadmap, a collecting roadmap, that's what I'm talking about. This is just a visual aid to just give you the concept and idea of what I'm referring to, but in reality, all it really comes down to is this. When I focus on a lot of my collecting stuff, I have room to pursue a bunch of different projects. Flexibility is one of the things that I've always built into the way I do things. It keeps things interesting. It allows me to pursue. But there's certain things that I'm focusing in on that I do want to have a little bit of structure to. And when I do that, and I'll use the vintage sets that I work on as an example of this kind of a structure, I used to do a thing where I would pick a bunch of sets that I was working on, have a whole big old checklist, and start trying to pick off things one after another. And what I found after a while is that, yeah, you would get stuff in all the time, and I love getting mail. Let me be honest. I've always enjoyed that. That's always been a fun thing for me. But the reality is, as you do that, you get all this mail in, but at the same time, you only really make marginal progress on each one of the different projects that you're working on. So you're getting all these cards in, you're getting cards in, you're sorting things, you're putting them in binders, you're checking off things on a checklist. But then at the end of months or a year or two, you're looking and like, yeah, this set's at 15%, this set's at 10%, this set's at 12%, this set's at 20%, and you still got a whole long ways to go, and nothing really feels like it's getting done. This checklist basically rolls over into another year, and here you are working on the exact same sets you were working on before. One thing that I started realizing is that it would just be easier for me and make it less stressful, I guess. Not really stressful is probably the wrong word, but less annoying and it would feel more productive to feel like I was actually making real progress. So what I started to do is I say, okay, let me prioritize this. What is something that I'd like to work on that would probably make sense to go first? And I usually give myself a couple. And what I've done after a while is I've settled in on two different vintage set projects at a time. And that's what I've been doing for the last while. And it's allowed me to actually finish some sets. And that's what's been helpful. And as I finish a set, then I can start working on another one. So I'm working at kind of two at the same time, but then as one ends, the other one might still be in progress, but then I can start working on the next one. And having this kind of roadmap, you don't have to be this kind of formal. This is, exaggerated for effect, just to give you the visual idea. But if you got kind of the idea in your head of what comes next, then for you, it's very straightforward. And it gave you already the opportunity to think about it a while ago. You were actually able to kind of plan it out a little bit. And you already know, because most of these projects take a while. It's not like I'm working on a project. Oh yeah, in like 3 or 4 weeks it's done. Well, at that point, going into this kind of effort is really not worth it for you. A lot of these vintage projects usually take a couple of months or a couple of years. It just depends on how many cards are in it. Some of the stuff's kind of expensive. I do have a budget that I need to focus on, so I can't just go out there and hit the buy it now on eBay. Some of these sets you could totally finish one of these sets in a couple of weeks or a couple of months if you just go on eBay and hit buy it now, because some of this stuff is available. Even some of the 50 sets and baseball sets that I like to work on and stuff like that, I could do it. Like, for example, right now, the two sets that I have going on at the moment are my 53 Bowman Color set and a 63 Fleer set. If I went right now on eBay and I said, okay, let me go find the rest of the 63 Fleers that I need, it's about a 60 card set, and I've got about 25 or so of those, and I was able to pick up a bunch at the expo this past time. If I go in there and I say, okay, I want to finish the set, so I need about 35, 40 cards, great. I just go on eBay and boom, buy it now, 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 and buy it now, and just spend some money, and I will have the set completed. There you go, I'm done. So it's one of those things, though. I'm also taking advantage of the fact that I'm only working on two sets at a time to kind of be a little bit picky. I'm looking for certain things. With the 53 Bowman Color, I'm trying to see cards that have reasonably sharp image, that have a little bit of centering, not even if it doesn't have to be perfect centering, but I want to have borders on each side. I don't want it to be almost miscut, because there are cards that definitely fall under that category. But at the same time, over the years, I had been working on all these other vintage projects and sets that I have not abandoned. I just pushed them further back in the roadmap. So that's kind of how I kind of use this idea. So right now I'm working on 53 Bowman Color and I'm working on 63 Fleer, but in the back of my mind, I know that if I come close to finishing one of those, or I'm getting right on the precipice, well, then the next thing I'm going to be working on is 1953 Topps Baseball. And I had accumulated some cards for that over time, so I'm not starting from scratch. I know that that's the next one I'm going to target. Now, here's the question. Why did I choose these specific ones, and why am I doing it in this order when, as I said, there's other partial sets that I've got sitting in binders right now? The answer right now is based on just some common sense, because 53 Bowman Color is a beautiful set, but at the same time, a lot of these 50s vintage cards, especially for baseball, are creeping up in price over time. So for me, it became very critical to start targeting that. I needed to get another 53 Bowman Color Mickey Mantle, so I went after that directly. The 53 Bowman Color Pee Wee Reese, I went after that directly. So I focused on the stars first. That's been kind of my tactic. I focus on the stars and the higher, the short prints and harder to get cards as soon as possible to try to get those done, so that the rest of it becomes a little bit of a snowball. It kind of starts rolling downhill and it becomes a little bit easier towards the end. It means the last card is not as exciting as, selectively saying, oh, the Pee Wee Reese would be a beautiful last card to finish the set off with. But at the same time, it's like, look, I've already got it in the collection. I've got it in the set. And for me, it's just going to make it a little bit easier for me to get a little bit of momentum. And towards the tail end, I'll be able to move very quickly to finish the set off. So that's going to be good. And that's going to be fun for me. I'll be able to enjoy the set, make a video and show it off and everything. But then at the same time, move on to the next thing. And like I said, 53 Topps would be the next one that I'd be looking to work on, because there are some very expensive cards still in there. I have the Mickey Mantle for that set, but I need the Willie Mays. I need the Jackie Robinson. I need the Satchel Paige. Like, there's a lot of quality cards that have been escalating in value over time that I don't want to wait too many years down the road here. I will definitely make some progress on these sets in the next, several months to a year or two. And then that'll allow me to put more of my focus on that 53 Topps set. And then at the same time, as soon as I finish one of the other ones, then I have another set waiting in the wings as well. And the other set that I would have for that would be 1960 Topps Baseball. And for that one, I've probably got about 35 or 40% of the set, actually. I had put together quite a bit of it in years past. So I've kind of put it on the back burner. It's sitting further back in this roadmap, but it would be the next set after. And then the next set after that would be something like 1970 Topps, because all I have left for that one is the high numbers. So even though, obviously that would be a good one to probably target potentially earlier, I thought to myself, well, the 1960 Topps is not getting cheaper. 53 Topps is not getting cheaper. I might want to focus on getting those closer to completion before I start tackling the high numbers for 1970 Topps to finish that off. So hopefully over the next several years, I'll be finishing some of these as I go along. So potentially down the road here, my roadmap for vintage looks like finishing 53 Bowman Color, 63 Fleer Baseball, getting those two done, and then 53 Topps, hopefully. That one's going to take, in my opinion, a longer time because it is a bigger set. But it's a beautiful set, and I'm hoping that over the next several years, I'll be able to work on and finish that. But in the meantime, while I'm doing that, I'm going to continue to work on the 60 Topps set, and I've already got a lot of progress on that one. So probably that one will be finished, and then I can start working on the 1970 Topps high numbers. And then after that, I can be a little bit pickier. There's some other sets that I think would be interesting, but that gives me a little bit of a runway, a little bit of time to kind of figure out what potentially would come next. There's a couple of other sets that I definitely have a good amount of progress on that I would probably like to have complete. But it made my life a lot easier years ago when I realized that I didn't want to do complete runs anymore. I had the idea years and years ago when I was more ambitious. I thought, oh, it'd be great to have the Bowman run. It'd be great to have the Topps run, all the vintage ones leading into 79. But from a practical perspective, it's just, that's going to get really expensive. And there's a lot of those sets, honestly, I don't personally like. So those are my reasons for kind of avoiding some of them. But the 1960 Topps set, I've always appreciated and enjoyed. The 1970 Topps set, even though it's really kind of boring aesthetically for most people, I like it. So I'm already most of the way done that set. Like I said, I have all the low numbers, the low number set completed. It's just the high numbers that are left now. And I've got a couple of the different high numbers. So it's not like I'm most of the way through it. It makes it a little bit easier kind of to pursue. I'm not really feeling like I'm starting from scratch. If I was going to start that, I wouldn't want to do a 700 card set today from scratch, especially like that. But I've already made enough progress on it that I feel like, hey, I'm pretty pot committed to it. I still like the set. I like to finish it. So it's definitely going to be one of those ones on the list. And then beyond that are other sets that are further down in my priority levels and further down the pecking order. And then I'll kind of continue from there. And hopefully, over years and years to come, I can keep refining that roadmap as time goes on and keep shifting it forward and find other projects that are interesting to me. And it gives me the time and the ability to kind of think through and research, because there's some sets that I have some progress on that I might not want to continue on. So I might just say, like, you know what, we'll let that one go and we'll focus our attention somewhere else on something else that is more interesting to me. So stuff like that gives you that ability. This kind of structure isn't for everybody, but I wanted to talk about it because this is something that may be useful to some folks. Again, if it's something where you find yourself maybe taking on too many projects at the same time, and maybe a little bit of structure would help you out. It's one of those things that I would at least give some thought to, because it is a good way to keep you kind of focused. Like I said, I like to do 2 sets at once personally, because I feel like that's a good number. It means that I don't get stuck just working on one set and have that tunnel vision that I talked about in the last episode. But at the same time, it means that I don't have so many things going on at the same time that it's almost like you're having trouble keeping track of it all. And you're doing all this work and spending money and all this energy and attention, and it's like, okay, so where do you prioritize it? And it gives you the ability to prioritize it a little bit and realize that as you're doing it from a motivational perspective, hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you succeed and finish the set, celebrate it, enjoy it. But then there's another project for you to take on right after that. You can take a little breather, by the way. You don't have to immediately start on the next one, but at the same time, it gives you that kind of ability to look a little bit further ahead and go, hey, when I'm done this one, I get to start working on this other one that I'm also kind of interested in working on. Hey, that's pretty good. It's a good motivator near the finish line to kind of finish it off and then, potentially start on the next one that might be of interest to you. So it's one of those little tricks that I like to use. It's more mental tricks than anything else, honestly. It's not something you have to do. You could start 50 sets at the same time, and you could certainly still reach the end. It just makes it a little bit trickier. And like I said, I like seeing progress personally. So that's always been something that I've pursued, to be like, what can I do to make it feel like I'm making progress, to help keep me motivated and to help me keep me interested in the process, because the process itself, more than anything else, is what I enjoy and what I have fun with. So anyway, so that's it for this episode. Hopefully, maybe you get something out of this one. Like I said, this one's a little bit different. I've been enjoying doing more of these kind of collector-centric and strategy and philosophy-centric ones. If there's something else that maybe you'd like me to touch on, let me know. If you've got any thoughts in the comment section, I'd be interested in checking that out and hearing about it. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the channel. More videos coming up on the channel, and then live streams are there, happen on Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about all kinds of different things related to the hobby. Anyway, so hopefully you enjoy this one. Thanks very much. We'll catch you in the next one.